everybody. We did some folding projects a while ago, so I wanted to do one more this one. So I should have a drawing video for you this week and a folding project or an origami project. Now this one origami project is definitely a little harder than the ones we did last week. We're going to be making a paper hat or a paper boat, depending how you want to look at it. So I have here just a piece of paper. You can use printer paper, you could use notebook paper, what do you have? And I'm just going to fold it in half. When I'm folding, I always use two hands, and I want to use the table to help me. So what I'm trying to do is get this edge down here to line up as best I can. I'm not worried about being perfect. And then once I have it, I kind of hold it still and then use my other hands or fingers to flatten that edge down. Now, what we want to do is we want to make the triangle portion of our sail up here. So I want to try and find the middle as best I can with one finger, and I kind of use that to help me pivot this edge. So I create a triangle over here. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. Now, if you didn't find the middle exactly, that's okay. What I'm really looking to do is to make a nice flat line here. I don't really worry too much about how much space is in between them, just as long as I have this flat edge down here. So I flattened these both. Cool. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this flap here. There should be one in the front and one in the back. And I'm going to fold it twice. The first fold is going to come up just underneath where those two triangles ended. And then I'm going to do it one more time. I'm going to fold that flap over top of those. Cool. I'm flattening all my creases. Looks good. Now let's flip it over. And I'm going to do the same thing. I have this little flap down here. You might not be able to see where the bottom of those triangles are anymore, but I think you have a pretty good idea of where they are. There we go. Fold it once. Fold it twice. Now, we could be done. If I were making a hat, I would say this would be my last step. I can go ahead and kind of open it up, and you can put this on your head or whatever you want to do with it. You could also say this is a boat. You could open it up and kind of just set it down. But there's another couple steps we can do. If you were making a hat, I would use a piece of newspaper. That would really help. But here's our next step. Now this can get a little harder. So I'm going to take my fingers and I'm going to pretend like I'm opening, I'm going to pretend like I'm opening the hat up like this. You can see how I'm doing that. And I'm going to open it the whole way until it flattens out. Look, did you see what I just did? So I started off with this triangle and I pulled it flat and I ended up getting like this diamond shape. And I can take these two little flaps that we had that we folded up last time, and I'm going to tuck one behind the other. So I'm going to do that one more time. Let's go back to here's the hat. I'm going to pretend to open it up. See, and what I'm doing is I'm pulling, see, I'm looking at the bottom. I'm pulling it open like that, and I end up getting this diamond piece. And I'm just going to fold those flaps there. Now, I want to take this bottom part right here, and I want to fold it up. And there's no real great way for me to tell you where to fold it up to. It doesn't really matter a whole lot. Sometimes I try to get these lined up. Sometimes I might go a little bit higher, just somewhere around there. Flip it over, do it again. Now you remember that weird little move we did where we opened it up like that? We're going to do it again. So I'm going to take the bottom with both hands, and I'm going to open it up. See what I'm doing? I know that's kind of weird, but I'm kind of putting it back to how it was. I have this weird shape right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull on these two little triangles on each side. When I pull, it's going to bring the size of my boat up. Now you may need to give it a little persuasion, so I'm going to use my fingers to kind of smush this and maybe smush it down on the table to make it nice and flat. But there is my boat. You see it? And if I go ahead and open it back up on the bottom, I've got a nice boat. You should be able to make this stand up by itself. If you put this in the water, it will float. It will float around in the bathtub or in the sink or wherever you can float it, and it'll last as long as the paper will until it's too soggy to stay anymore. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you wanted to stop back before we turn to a boat where it's just a hat, you can do that. If you want to try those extra steps, go for it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you give it a try, and I hope it turned out nice. So take care, everybody.